Who was Metropolitan Cyprian of Oropos and Phili, and what is Cyprianism? Cyprian was an archimandrite in the Greek state church who fled to the Florinates, and in doing so was defrocked. He would then beg the ex-Mathewite bishop Callistos of Corinth to consecrate him and 7 other archimandrites, including the now Archbishop Callinicos, to be bishops behind the back of the Florinite Synod, without Bishop Auxentius' permission. All those who participated in those illegal ordinations were defrocked, and this led to the Callistite-Auxentios schism. Eventually, Callistos would retreat from his synod and go to repent to the Mathewites, and the rest of the few others would return to the Auxentian faction. Cyprian, along with Giovanni of Sicily, decided not to return from the schism and formed their own group, known as the Synod in Resistance. Cyprian would form a controversial ecclesiological position which taught that ecumenists were a part of the church, but were ailing members who still had sanctifying grace in their sacraments. This ideology would then plague a lot of old calendarist factions, and even Rocker was getting interested in it, which was why they went into communion with Cyprian in 1994, effectively going against their own 1983 anathema, which Bishop Gregory Grab pointed out. The Auxentians and the Chiosites saw this and effectively broke communion with Rocker for betraying their initial confession of faith again. The Chiosites would then anathematize and defrock Cyprian, which means that Cyprian was defrocked for the 3rd time in a row. The head of Rocker at the time, Vitaly Ustinov, would then have his church burned down and his myrrh-streaming icon disappear from the fire. Rocker then realized Cyprian's position was heretical. Vitaly Ustinov would anathematize Cyprianism and break communion with the SIR in 2001. Cyprian would also practice simony by selling exorcisms for money and selling shows to people who would come watch him do exorcisms in his church. In 1999, an earthquake would be at the epicenter of the church and split the church through the altar. The Synod, instead of seeing it as a warning, used it to claim that God was telling them to build a bigger church. In 2007, Cyprian went into a coma and remained in it for 6 years. As soon as Cyprian woke up from his coma in 2013, he died on the spot with his mouth wide open and body hardening. At the funeral, they could not close his mouth, and his body started emitting a foul odor, so they had to use fans during the procession. Later on in 2014, the Synod in Resistance would then go to the former Chiosite group, now run by Callinicos, known as GOCK. As far as it is known, the Callinicos have not made the Cyprianites repent, and they may even have absorbed their teaching of grace amongst ecumenists. That is also why many old calendar synods choose to stay out of communion with the Callinicites,